All right, welcome. Have you ever thought about learning to code? Maybe even landing a job in tech? Well, if so, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're kicking off a 100-day coding journey, and this explainer right here is your very first step.
So let's think about this for a second. You and I, we're talking using a language, right? But how in the world do you talk to a computer? It can't understand English or Spanish or any of our everyday languages. You need something different, a language it was built to understand.
Well, that's where programming comes in. A programming language is that special bridge between your ideas and what the computer actually does. Now, there are a ton of them out there, but today we are zeroing in on one of the best, most powerful, and easiest to learn, Python.
All right, so what is Python really? Where did it come from? And why has it become such a huge deal in the tech world today? Let's break it down. You'll often hear Python described with words like high level and interpreted. Look, high level is just a fancy way of saying it's closer to how we humans talk, which makes it way easier to read and write. And interpreted? That just means the computer checks your code line by line, which is a lifesaver when you're learning. But honestly, the one word you really need to remember is simple.
You know, Python didn't just pop into existence. It actually started as a side project by its creator Guido van Rossum way back in 1989. After its first official release in '91, it just kept growing and improving, turning into the global powerhouse that it is today.
And hey, here's a little fun fact for you. The name, it's got absolutely nothing to do with a snake. Guido was just a big fan of the TV show Monty Python's Flying Circus and named his creation after it. Goes to show you there's always a little room for fun, even in programming.
Okay, so we get what it is. But let's be real. There are hundreds of programming languages out there. So why Python? Why is this the one that's recommended for beginners and used by giants like Google and Netflix?
Well, the reasons are pretty hard to argue with. Its simplicity is a game changer. You're not fighting with complicated rules, you're just building your ideas. Plus, it's totally free. And maybe the best part? It has this massive global community behind it.
And one of its biggest superpowers is this idea of being cross-platform. What that means is you can write your code on, say, a Mac, and it'll run just fine on a Windows machine or a Linux server. No changes needed. It's the ultimate write once, run anywhere dream.
Think about it. For well over a decade, millions of developers have been running into problems and posting the solutions online. So for you, that means when you get stuck on an error, and trust me, we all do, the answer is almost always just a quick search away. You're never really coding alone.
All right, so we know why it's so great. But now for the really cool part. What can you actually build with this thing? This is where you start to see just how powerful it is.
For starters, you can build the brains behind AI. Seriously, Python is the #1 language for machine learning, powering everything from the recommendation engine that suggests your next movie to the tech in self-driving cars. Or how about becoming a data detective? With Python, you can dig through massive amounts of information, spot hidden trends, and create visualizations that help businesses make huge decisions.
Ever wonder what powers sites like Instagram or Spotify? Yep, a lot of them are built using Python on the back end. You can create the complex web applications and services that millions of people use every day.
And of course, it's a total workhorse for managing data. Python is amazing at connecting to huge, complex databases, letting companies store and work with their most important information.
Okay, that's enough talk. The absolute best way to learn to code is, well, to code. So right now, we're going to write your very first line. And don't worry, this is going to be super easy. You don't have to install a single thing. We're going to use this awesome free tool called Replit. Think of it as a coding playground that just runs in your web browser. No complicated setup, no powerful computer needed. Just follow these steps on the screen, and in less than a minute, you'll be all set.
And here it is. This one little line of code, print hello world, is basically a rite of passage for every single programmer. All you're doing is telling the computer to print whatever text is inside those quotes. It looks simple, but it's a huge first step.
And boom! There it is. When you hit that run button, the computer spits this back out at you. You just gave the computer a command, and it listened. That's it. Congratulations, you are officially a programmer.
So let's make this official. This isn't just about one line of code. It's about starting something new. The best way to lock in that commitment is to accept the challenge right now. Seriously, say it out loud. Type it somewhere. I accept the 100 Days of Code Challenge. Let's do this.
You just took the very first step. You wrote Hello World.
Now, take a second and just imagine, what could you build in 100 days? A website? A data analysis tool? Your first game? The journey starts right now, and honestly, the possibilities are endless.